Yeah, I got chipped. Got hit in my elbow to my tricep. But man, hey, I told the boys, man, we got the mission. The mission's still the mission. You know, we pour everything we can into this game. You know, if I say I trust God, I trust God. So, man, I'm just enjoying myself. I'm about to enjoy this little rehab, and then I'm about to enjoy leading this team, you know, the rest of the year. As soon as I can be back out there, I'm gonna be out there. But man, boy, heck, man, we was having fun out there, and we still gonna have fun. But yeah, I'm definitely as a player, I'm out for the year.
I'm sorry to hear that, BG.
Have you thought about next year yet, whether you'll come back and play?
Man, just trying to process everything right now. I ain't got that far, but you know what?
Oh my gosh. We had to hop on here, obviously, with the news, but I mean, I've seen that clip now like 2 or 3 times, and it just gets worse. Like, we're literally coming off of a win, all hyped, and I actually hadn't seen that because we're about to go to bed because it's super late.
Yeah.
But Thomas, it's terrible, obviously, but just initial thoughts, just reactions.
Well, there's 2 sides to this, right? There's the emotional side because it's Brandon Graham, and it's probably one of the greatest Eagles of my lifetime. And just the fact that he's probably going to end his career on that play. We don't know exactly when it happened. It happened in the fourth quarter. Very clearly, BG knew immediately what it went down. He was told pretty quickly it was a torn tricep. That's something that doesn't recover quickly, especially being soft tissue, muscle. But then the other side of this, Josh, this is a big blow to the Philadelphia Eagles, right? Any other year, your 36-year-old edge rusher going down is not that big of a deal. I mean, truly, right? I mean, any other year, he 36 years old. He's probably just kind of doing one final farewell tour. BG's one of the best pass rushers currently on this team. He was a monster just a couple of hours ago against the Rams. I mean, he had a sack, multiple plays in the backfield, heart and soul of the defense. I mean, you genuinely can say that. He's the only real old veteran on this football team, one of the only remaining people left from 2017. And so on one end, I mean, you're just crushed for BG as a person and crushed for what he means for Philadelphia. This is a major loss for the Philadelphia Eagles in terms of their Super Bowl quest, right? This doesn't derail them. One person does not finish this in terms of it's over, but this is a major loss. And this harkens back to 2017, Josh, and Jason Peters. And Philadelphia went without their best left tackle, for majority of the second half of the season. Vaitai comes in and played a hell of a game in the Super Bowl, and the Eagles won, and they did it for JP. And you start to kind of wonder all the parallels to 2017. Is Nolan Smith about to be that guy, and is Philadelphia about to run out in New Orleans for Super Bowl for the Super Bowl carrying a BG jersey and rally behind this? There's so many emotions, but after a win like tonight was, Josh, to lose BG, a friend of the show, we met BG in person multiple times. One of the best human beings, not just best football players, but
for sure. Yeah.
This one hurts, Josh. This one hurts a lot.
It does, yeah. And I mean, like you say, like the optimistic viewpoint is okay. Yeah, these guys will pick up the slack, right? They do it for BG. BG said, "Hey, we're still having fun. The guys are going to have fun, but he's not going to be there." And questions of like, hey, maybe he can recover quickly. Could he be back? Like a torn tricep is usually season ending very early in the season. So the fact that we're this late,
yeah,
it's just not going to happen. He knows it. You can tell, you could see in his voice or hear it in his voice and see what he's saying there, see it in his eyes. Like he knows. And that's who I feel the worst about. You said it there too, but it's like, this was his best game of the season by far. I mean, he was everywhere. He was run stopping. It was getting sacks. It was making plays. And the amount of times that he's had to, go out there at his age, and we're like, well, it's weird to have your best, or odd to have your best, or one of your best, at the very least, pass rushers, edges, defensive ends, whatever, as a guy like Brandon Graham, as old as he is, but that's what he's been for this team. Now he's still going to be like the heart and the soul on the sidelines. Like, I mean, we all know he'll be there supporting the guys, but
yeah,
you're right. You look at that. You look at Bryce Huff. Now Bryce was not making major contributions, sure. But it's another. This is a much bigger blow, much bigger loss to not have him on the football field. And personally, I would say just from the X's and O's of it, it's more so for the run stopping unit. Now, I believe and hope that Nolan Smith can be there as well, but like
Yeah.
BG and his strength has been able to help the run defense. And we saw some, early signs of Philly getting gashed. They cleaned it up. Sure, we're okay. We're not saying that the sky is falling. It's not going there, but it is a major blow. And so, then you start wondering, where do you look elsewhere? Trying to be a little bit of a stopgap. For sure, Nolan's going to get more reps. For sure, Jalyx Hunt's going to start getting more reps. Tarron Jackson was a recent signing. You will probably see a very quick signing to the active roster. Is he able to do some things? He was apparently, I think, being scout team for Jared Verse maybe this past week. But, did a few things in preseason. Guys are going to have to step up ultimately. Like you said, that's what it's going to come down to. And you know what? Every team in the NFL is dealing with injuries. So again, glass half full. It's not like other teams are 100%. This time of year, guys are banged up. There's injuries. The Eagles have been fortunate for the most part. We've had a few here or there, but this is a major blow. This is the first one where we say out for season, and it's whether we want to say, not necessarily technically a starter for the full year, but the amount of reps that BG played, the significant reps that he played, I feel terrible for him. I feel terrible for him, terrible for the team. But they can still do it. Like, hear me out. They can still do it. It just makes it a whole lot harder with a torn tricep being out for a season.
Yeah, think about going to LA in 2017. You lose Carson Wentz to the knee. You go to LA in 2024 and you lose Brandon Graham to a tricep. It's incredible. Incredible in a bad way, the parallel between both of these two injuries. And now you're going to ask, how do you replace him? What do you do? Obviously, elevating Tarron Jackson is the easy answer there. Howie will go out and look at the free agent market. Who's available right now, whether you're on a practice squad, whether you're an aged veteran who's looking for a football team. The problem is the timing, right? If this was week 7, 1 week before the NFL trade deadline, Howie throws a second-round draft pick and goes and gets somebody, right? I mean, it's very clear that they would do that. 9-2, there's just not a lot out there. So Tarron Jackson gets elevated. Nolan Smith plays a lot more snaps, and Jalyx Hunt is going to have to grow up really quick. And we both like Jalyx Hunt. I was texting with Jalyx Hunt earlier this morning. I think Jalyx Hunt can be a really good situational pass rusher, but very clearly Philadelphia doesn't see him as someone who's ready for a large amount of snaps. And so this third-round draft pick from a tiny school no one ever heard of, who a lot of people thought was overdrafted, had a good training camp, but he's gonna have to grow up real fast and just on the football field standpoint and take some of these reps. And you mentioned the run stopping of BG and just the energy. There's something about a 36-year-old Super Bowl champion who sealed the deal back in 2017, leading this team from the front. He wasn't leading from behind or from a limited snap count. We talk about the Chris Long role all the time. He's way outperforming Chris Long did in 2017.
Yeah.
And now he's done. And so I think Philadelphia has to obviously, channel this. There can be good that comes from this if this lights an extra spark under everybody. If this makes everybody 5% better because they're going to play for BG, maybe they can recover. And like we said, this doesn't derail a season. Everybody has injuries. Philadelphia was bound to have one. They've been very healthy this season. It's a big emotional one, and it's going to be a long 6-hour flight home from Los Angeles, which they're probably getting close to take off from right now as of filming this at 12:30 a.m. on the East Coast. And so
yeah,
it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Prayers up for BG.
Absolutely, it is. And for Peter, bro, you got to get out of here, man. Like saying he's just going to wrap it up. Tricep season, Andy. You're a pass rusher. You're pushing. You're shoving. You're grabbing. Like you need the tricep. So, it's a buzzkill, man. Like it is. Like you said, it'd be awesome to be on that flight. The squad's gonna be still happy for the win, but the heart and soul of the defense, and these guys can rally around it. So that's what I'm hoping for. Cold Cash, appreciate the 2, said got to do it for BG, no doubt. Yeah. And Thomas, you made a great point as well. Like, look, it's not the end of the world. We've seen it for Carson Wentz in his season. What the team did, Nick Foles coming, it's not the end of the world. It can happen for sure, but it still nonetheless takes away from this huge victory. I was sitting there like just about to sign off practically, and then I'm like, wait a second, what? Somebody tweeted me and said BG's out, and I'm going back to the press conference and going, wait a minute, serious? And then you get the soundbite, you hear the news. I don't know. They're going to see, but this team has shown resiliency. They've shown fight. They've shown toughness. Fangio's been able to use guys in a ton of different ways where previously, we would have wondered, okay, can they get the most out of this? Can this defense actually be productive and things like that? Number one defense in the NFL. It's not everything, but it is a
Yeah.
big blow. So I don't know.
Well,
We'll
and
see where they go.
let's just echo that, and let's be a little glass half full here, just because we can. This defense was not number one in the National Football League simply because of BG. BG was a massive component, but the secondary is playing great football. Nakobe Dean had an incredible night versus the Rams. Zach Bond has been fantastic. One of the top tackle leaders in the league. The safeties are playing really good football. Jalen Carter, Milton Williams, they've been great. Josh Sweat. Everybody has been great. It's just that extra weapon, right? When you need a play on third down, when you need a play in the fourth quarter, BG was that guy. And now he takes on more of a coaching role the remainder of the season. He's got rehab he's going to have to go ahead and do. I know the timeline on tricep is definitely long. Will he think about a comeback at 37 next year? I'd be surprised just because of the wear and tear at 36. This is why these things happen, right? I mean, a 26-year-old body versus a 36-year-old body in the National Football League, it's more fragile. We know that. And so I think we might have seen the end, and yet I think the defense is going to be okay in terms that it'll be fine without Brandon Graham, but they're losing one of their very best pass rushers. And I think Howie might go to the open market, Josh. I think tomorrow on my show, we're going to put together a list and try and find somebody. I think Howie was leaving this game very pleased with his work in the offseason, specifically Saquon Barkley. And now he gets on that same plane from LA to Philadelphia, and he starts talking to his scouts. Who is available? Who can he get off the street to give him 10 to 15 reps a game and give you 50% of what BG did? Because now with Bryce Huff out, if you have another injury, I mean, things get really dire. So a lot of work left to be done. And this is what happens in Philadelphia. I mean, 2017, this is 2017 all over again. And you know how that ended. So,
Yep. So they could do it. They could do it for BG. Do it for the guy. Speaking of, I can give you at least a couple names. Shout out to Anthony DeBona because he texted me and said, time for Fangio to sign Jason Pierre-Paul or Bruce Irvin.
Pierre-Paul.
Again, like he did last season. Remember, the Dolphins lost Chubb and Phillips, and they made some moves there. So just two immediate names off the top of Anthony DeBona's head. So appreciate you, sir. But
JPP makes a lot of sense.
It
makes a lot of sense.
He definitely. I wonder how quickly he could be caught up to speed. Like is it
not
a
quick.
1 week, 2 week, 3 weeks? But even if it's not until playoffs, that's still not the. You're going to have some sort of depth. So perhaps you go that route. But yeah, I mean, this injury, obviously the one with Bryce Huff, like we mentioned, thin at edge to begin with. The young guys got to grow up quick with the pass rush. You're going to need it. I don't know. This one stings. I'm kind of numb, quite honestly, because it's one of those. It's a late night. They got the win.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of celebration. Then it's like, wait, what? So, I don't know. And trades are out of the question. I know some people are
out of the question.
Trade deadline's already passed.
Clowney, I see Clowney. Clowney is a Panther. You can't trade for Clowney. So,
yeah. Andrew with a 2. Appreciate that. More 3 defensive tackle fronts and Jalen playing edge. That's the thought. Move Jalen Carter around. He can play everywhere. Milton Williams even. So Fangio will have a plan to try to figure this thing out, but you're going to have to make shift. You have to adjust a little bit. So
yeah, BG really was a luxury on this defense. I mean, he was not supposed to be this good. Yeah. Fangio was not supposed to have to rely on him this much. And then, you get like a third-grade edge rusher to go along with Nolan Smith, who'd been good the past couple of weeks. And obviously the best pass rusher on this team right now coming off the edge is Josh Sweat. So now you go back to kind of the thought process that Fangio probably had going into the season. And like, these are the edge guys, and I don't have BG anymore. And how does he do that? How does he do that?
Yeah. I don't know. We're gonna have to see. He's good for a reason. This defense is at their level for a reason, but at least had to jump on again super late, I know, but letting everybody know officially BG out for season, torn tricep.
Yep. Killer.
Replay the whole clip. Get thoughts and analysis. We'll have more, obviously, for you in the game recaps and shows in the coming days. But despite the 37-20 win, it feels like a loss. It feels like I'm coming away from a loss.
It does feel like a loss. It does.
BG's out.
But this is how it felt with Carson Wentz, and Wentz was such a more impacttul player. Like, it's wild how I feel right now. It was right around this time, too. They only had a couple games
it was against
left.
LA, yeah.
And it was in LA. It was the Coliseum versus SoFi is being built, but... Yeah. How do you rally, right? What is Nick Sirianni's message to the football team when they get back on Wednesday, right? They're going to be off on Tuesday. They're obviously going to be back Wednesday. What's that all hands on meeting going to be like? And Nick Sirianni is going to take on a lot of pressure now to make sure that there are no long faces and hung heads, and make sure that they're focused on the Baltimore Ravens next week, because they got to keep pushing for the 1 seed. That was one thing the 2017 team did very well, Josh. They won the games after Wentz went out and locked up the 1 seed and made you come to Philadelphia, and that's going to be a crucial part of this final home stretch for the Eagles.
Yeah, it definitely is. You're right, because the home field advantage, major factor, as we all know, but especially in a season like this, with the defense and everything there. I mean, you can make shift. Not saying that you do have some playmakers, but to Andrew's thought a second ago, you use Jalen Carter in a different way. Milton Williams, perhaps. You've got Moro Ojomo. You have those hybrid defensive tackles, the fronts that you use anyway. If you want to go with a NASCAR package, you could potentially do that. Heck, send some blitzes differently. Zach Bond to Kobe Dean. Try to negate some other things there, and then hopefully with the run defense. But there are some guys, and again, Milton had 3 sacks tonight. So it's just again, you get to the bottom of the barrel, so to speak, and you're like, man, we're reaching now. We're fewer than we had previously, and down 2 edges to begin with. So like we say, time for them to show up. Again, getting a couple other comments of people just joining officially, as you see, tweet there, breaking Eagles defensive end Brandon Graham season over after tearing his tricep versus the Rams, which he did say after the game. Again, you can replay the whole video. I started at the beginning of his official statement, but Jarky B. Nolan Smith has big shoes to fill. He does. It's official. But BG would, let's just say this. BG would tell you this. If we were to ask him, I feel very confident because we had him on our show during the offseason. We met him at the celebrity softball game again. And he spent some time talking with us there and saying, like, Nolan's ready. And Nolan's had 3.5 sacks. He said he's going to prove people wrong. So, if for nothing else, I do feel like you would get a very confident answer from BG of going, you know what, it's disappointing. Yes, you could see it in his voice or hear it in his voice and see it in his eyes there in the tone, but like he would still tell you, you know what, these guys are going to show up. They're going to show up. Nolan Smith's going to be there. Jalyx Hunt, he's coming along. You might get some more snaps from him, and then we'll see who do they sign, other potentials to make this team and get this D-line back and going. But as you said, prayers for BG, man, because that's the worst. And I feel terrible for the absolute legend. So
yep. All right, we'll break it all down tomorrow. We'll have more in-depth analysis. But as Josh said, we want to jump on. We're always the first to give you guys the breaking news, and unfortunately, this is not good breaking news. And so, BG's out. How will they recap from this? And what will the mood be like in Philadelphia this week, following what was a dominant win and the Saquon Barkley MVP performance, and now this? So very interesting.
There we go. Okay. Well, appreciate you guys again. Have a good one. And still, as always, go Birds.
Go Birds.